All right, check this out. So last night at around 12:30, the abandoned criminals mansion that I filmed back in September actually burned down to the ground. So here's some video clips of the news coverage about what happened.
This chimney, the little left of what was once a sprawling $8 million mansion. Chopper 2 over the 22,000 square foot home on Cedar Drive in Colts Neck, New Jersey, as heavy machinery knocked down the few walls that the fire didn't devour.
The house burnt to the ground, yeah.
The township's mayor and police chief say this was no accident.
I would call it suspicious, yes.
The raging blaze quickly tore through the empty, boarded-up home around midnight, gutting the entire structure right down to the frame and foundation. Firefighters having to pump water from a nearby lake to fight the flames. The house sits at the end of this very long driveway, several hundred feet away from the end of the street. And while a lot of neighbors say they haven't actually seen the home up close, people in this community know all about it.
Kids will be kids, and they had a place to hang out, you know.
Not only did kids hang out in this zombie mansion, which has been empty for years, the eyesore has been a long-time complaint of residents in this upscale neighborhood and was somewhat of an attraction. This YouTube video showing what the abandoned mansion looked like before and gives a look at how trespassers broke in, graffitiing the walls, ransacking the rooms once adorned in marble. The video got more than 1 million hits online, drawing even more attention to the property. Curious visitors and people bold enough to throw parties. Neighbors say sometimes multiple parties in one night.
Mostly from out of town, not only from Monmouth County, but they came from all over the state of New Jersey.
The property had belonged to a banker who was jailed for mortgage fraud and had been tied up in foreclosure proceedings. At least one neighbor tells us he's relieved the house is now gone, and he hopes all of the unwanted attention has gone with it. In Colts Neck, New Jersey, Janelle Burrell, CBS 2 News.
Fire lighting up the night sky in Monmouth County as a multi-million-dollar mansion with a history of vandalism burns to the ground.
What one neighbor referred to as the monster house is no more. Take a look at what's left of this home, 104 Cedar Drive here in Colts Neck, former 15,000 square foot home built back in 2002, nothing but rubble. Folks, take a look at this overnight video. You can see from the light of the flames just nothing left of the house, just lighting up that night sky in Colts Neck. Firefighters from several neighboring towns were called in to assist on this one. Spoke with a resident who says he was woken around 12:30 this morning.
When I looked out the window over here, I saw flames. I would guess they were 50 plus feet shooting up out of this thing. There's a whole lot of smoke that I could barely see, but I could tell there was a huge amount of flame. And then around 2 o'clock, there was a huge pair of booms that just literally shook the place.
Hang on, did you hear that? Let me go back. Listen to this.
And then around 2 o'clock, there was a huge pair of booms that just literally shook the place.
That's kind of shady, right?
Rollie says neighbors called it the Monster House because it was once owned by David Findel, the former president of Worldwide Financial Resources in Morganville, who was convicted of bankruptcy fraud, among other charges. And since then, it's been empty, and there's been a history of vandalism in and around the home. Much of the graffiti video was taped and posted on YouTube, and that video has since gone viral with well over 1 million views. In talking to the prosecutor's office here in Monmouth County, no information just yet on how this fire started. They searched for human remains. It doesn't appear that they found anybody inside, which is certainly good news, but we're waiting on confirmation on that. As we get more information, we'll pass it along.
Roaring flames and thick smoke pour from a 20,000 square foot mansion in Tony Colts Neck. The multi-million-dollar home reduced to rubble and ashes overnight.
There were flames going, I suppose, 50 plus feet in the sky. It was a hell of a blaze.
4 Investigates first took you inside the zombie mansion last fall. Boarded up, abandoned, and trashed. Over the 5 years, no one had lived here. Our investigation revealed the property was a nightmare for police, responding dozens of times since 2011 for everything from drugs to vandalism. Neighbors had another name for it.
It's been called a monster house by some of us just because it was huge.
4 Investigates found the house is owned by David Findel, a mortgage banker who went to prison for fraud. After he left, it was abandoned amidst a financial tangle of ownership and liens. Now, as Chopper 4 shows, there is nothing left. One town official telling us the property is probably worth more as an empty lot than with a zombie house on top. And while neighbors say they are sorry it had to end this way, they are not upset to have it gone.
It was definitely very gaudy on the outside. Not
ugly?
Ugly, yeah, I would say so. Yes, ugly.
Unless and until evidence is found to the contrary, I'm told that the prosecutor here in Monmouth County is treating this as a probable arson. In Colts Neck, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.
So those videos were all posted today, a couple hours ago. Here's a video from back in November that NBC did about the mansion in the video.
In small, wealthy Colts Neck, New Jersey, real estate is a very big deal. Of the homes for sale today, more than 70 are at least $1 million, and residents say you get what you pay for.
Everybody just raises their children here. The school systems are phenomenal. It's a tight, close-knit community.
Which is why everyone is deeply troubled by the listing getting the most traffic.
There's, from the sublime to the ridiculous, we have obviously, internet coverage about it. That creates some policing problems very often.
Deputy Mayor Michael Fitzgerald is talking about this house on Cedar Drive, a 20,000 square foot mansion once celebrated on a website called Homes of the Rich. It's now a star on YouTube because it looks like this.
It's unfortunate. It's a sad circumstance, is what it is. The problem in situations like this is it's somewhat glorified, or it's made as if that this is some urban explorer.
In the past 2 months, almost 1 million people have taken this virtual tour filmed by a guy who calls himself the Unknown Cameraman. Colts Neck officials are not laughing, especially since the photographer was trespassing. The video is also shining light on other criminal activity. Police have been called here 40 times for everything from drugs to vandalism since the house was boarded up in 2011.
We've had some first aid problems there as well.
So who owns this eyesore? 4 Investigates has learned David Findel has title to the mansion. He is a once high-flying banker who was convicted of mortgage fraud in 2011 and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
I think it's sad that a family that was there under not so good circumstances, the father leaves and now a house is destroyed and the house and a property is now useless to us.
Findel, who launched an executive coaching business after serving his prison term, says a complex foreclosure fight is blocking him from repairing and selling the property. He told us he wants to sell and use the proceeds to pay his restitution. But the legal battle over insurance payments still stands in the way.
You have to kind of wait that out, and that can be years, literally.
In the meantime, residents are worried that viral video is just going to bring more bad traffic.
Now you've got kids that would not have known about it. It's now on the radar. Without 24/7 surveillance, I don't know what they're going to do.